Here is a practical tip or information as to why it's also really important to review research information as well. That is so that you are able to advocate for yourself and you will be able to take that knowledge and information and move it forward in terms of helping the people that you serve. Now, I'll give you an example. I literally have someone that I work with that is having a baby, and I literally was listening to the care that they were receiving, went and looked up things just for my own personal knowledge to be able to have a more educated conversation. And I was like, oh, okay, now I understand what you are currently going through. And then I was like, you know what? We work in healthcare, right? And I think you might want to consider switching your care to somebody else. Um, we could talk to our other boss that works where you need to be. Let's get her on the phone real quick. And literally, we did a mini literature review in that moment and started saying, okay, these are the things you need to talk to your doctor about. These are the things that you need to make sure that you get for your next scan so that they're able to rule out all of the things that are going on with you based upon your symptoms. And they literally start going through all of the differential diagnoses that could possibly happen. And then my boss went and called another doctor, and it was so cool being able to see that multidisciplinary approach. So when you are learning and understanding these things, not only can you better understand why current healthcare policies impact us, but you can also dispel a lot of myths and have intelligent conversations with your care team, with various people, especially in the health and wellness field in terms of influencers. You know what's fact and what's fiction. You know what's right and what isn't. You know what to take to your doctor and what not to take to your doctor. So I really want to encourage you to look at some of the current things that we have going on right now. Look at some of the freezes that are happening. Look at some of the rollbacks. And I want you to go, this is your assignment. I want you to go and do a quick Google search on whatever the topic is that you've uncovered. Then I want you to do a literature review. A literature review is basically what we did in yesterday's lesson, where we look through the research about things to get a better understanding of what's going on. And then you can bounce back and forth between scientific data and literature and papers and look at some of that mainstream info. And I encourage you to scroll down and see where their sources are cited. For me, it's very important that when I am discussing things, especially as it relates to health data, I always try to make sure I understand the source because sources can be biased. So you always want to make sure that you are taking the time to educate yourself in these areas so that you can understand. And the final thing that I do want to point out is something called the PMID. Okay, so a PMID or PubMed ID and or a DOI is another, I think it's direct object identifier, but that is another way of basically giving a research article its address. So anytime you click on these links, it's going to take you to the article so that you'll always be able to come back and reference it. Another way to think about it is this is this article's parking spot. Like this is its reserved parking spot. So now when you are looking at various research articles or papers or anything like that, especially coming from a medical professional, you now have the ability to say, okay, if this is the PMID that they are putting in that article, now I can go into Google, type in that PMID, and I'll be able to get to that article.